Hey guys, welcome back. So now we're getting back into the Robin series to where in this portion, it's called Rumble of the Robins. But aside from Damian getting jumped by all the previous Robins, this moment also gives us a bit of a significant push forward as far as the character development for Damian Wayne, who's really the only Robin that we haven't seen go through this transformation or journey of finding himself, so to speak. So let's get into it. But first, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to catch the spills every week. And don't forget to hit that bell up top so we can squat up in the comments for the first hour. Alright, so jumping back in with Damian getting a bit of a pop-up visit / intervention from what appears to be just the other previous Robins, who were contacted by Ravager, who had pretty much just reached out to Jason Todd and he'd called everybody else. But also with us picking up from here, I noticed quite a few of you guys from the last video were saying like, where's Cassandra Cain? Because rightfully she would be a nice fit for the whole tournament side of the story, with her history of the League of Assassins and her being raised to be like the perfect bodyguard of Ra's al Ghul. But in this case with Nightwing and the others coming to bring Damian back, this is specifically done by using only previous Robins, and it's because with them coming here and trying to take Damian back to Gotham, it's a lot like they're trying to stop Damian from going on this journey that he needs to go on. And on top of that, with the whole squad showing up here, it quickly gives off the vibe that they're not trying to talk, but instead regardless of what Damian would say, they would just make him go back anyway. And that's the main reason why Damian just takes off from the jump, because at this point they've already told him that they're aware of the death tournament, and a matter of fact when Jason mentions it, like spoiler, she's like, man, Cass is gonna be so jealous. And it's like just off of that, it makes you want to send Cassandra Cain a postcard from Lazarus Island, like wish you were here, because not seeing her over there, it does kind of feel like a missed opportunity. But as for what's happening right here in Corto Maltese, in this case it doesn't, because once again we're just dealing with previous Robins. And what's pretty funny here is like while they're all chasing Damian, he pretty much does a double takedown on both Spoiler and Timothy Drake, with them arguing while they're chasing Damian, but he ties them up together saying they need some quality time or some one-on-one. And it's kind of funny since they were sort of an item before Spoiler had stepped in as Robin for a short while. So with Damian doing this, he knows he's hitting a nerve. But then on top of this, to take it a step further, when Nightwing catches up, because let's be honest, like Nightwing's gonna catch anybody when it comes to rooftop traversal, because the kid, he's been walking on ropes since he was a toddler. But when Nightwing catches up to Damian, Damian says something that's kind of borderline punching below the belt, man. Because when Damian says, aren't you sure you weren't raised by clowns? And he cuts Nightwing's line and he calls him Rick. Like on the surface, it feels like a reference to the whole Rick Grayson saga that we talked about back when Nightwing was shot by KG Beast and he lost his memory, and his storyline then got tossed between like 3 or 4 different writers. But even still, I felt Nightwing when he was just like, man, like Damian, that's just mean. Because had Damian just said it and like that was it, like that would have been one thing. But with Damian saying it and then cutting Nightwing's line, man, I just immediately thought of Dick's parents, on top of the whole Rick Grayson saga. And it's just a savage move on Damian's part. But also I do want to mention, like, the thing that's going on here is like Damian, he told them if they can catch him, then he'll go back. So underneath it all, that's kind of the game that's going on here. But then after Damian slows down Nightwing, he then has this moment with Jason to where Damian tells him like, everyone acts like you're so cool because you're the Robin who died, but who hasn't died. And Damian tells him, I'd love to help you catch up, but I left my crowbar in the other cape. And it's like, man, the savagery just continues. Like Damian, he's holding nothing back here. And initially Jason gets it, like he can tell that Damian is just saying these things to make him mad and kind of throw him off. But boy, oh boy, Damian is far from done. Because he then goes on to tell Jason that, look, amongst the different Robins, Grayson, he's the most experienced. Tim, he's probably the smartest. Spoiler, she's the bravest. But for you, you're the most emotional. And when Damian says that, he gives Jason a hug. And you can tell by Jason's expressions, he kind of feeling like, yeah, you right. But in this emotional moment, Damian then hits Jason with the stun, and he just takes off again, telling Jason it had to be done. And from there, Damian just makes his way to sneak on the ship and make his way back to the island. But before he can get on the ship, he hears a voice say happy birthday. And when he turns around, it's Nightwing with the gift. And granted, in this particular moment, it's not Damian's birthday, but instead it's like a few days after his birthday. But even still, it's not like Damian made himself that easy to find. But what we end up seeing here as a gift, he ends up giving Damian the trapeze bar from his family's act, which at one point Alfred had taken, painted it black, and had given to him. because for Dick, this was like something to remind him that he was someone who came from two worlds. And with him giving it to Damian now, with it saying versus the world, he's telling Damian that he totally understands what it's like to not be certain about your past, your present, or your future, which is definitely something we've seen Dick Grayson go through a number of times, and not just with the recent Rick Grayson saga, but we've seen him as an agent, we've seen him take the place of Batman, and even when we saw him become Nightwing, that was a process that had many changes and a number of different looks along the way. But also with Dick passing along to Damian this gift from Alfred, it really just reminds Damian of that moment when Bane had snapped Alfred's neck. Because Damian was there, he was tied in a chair, and he was more or less just forced to just watch it happen. And even though prior to that, sure, Damian, he's seen a lot of death, but when Alfred died for Damian, that was the first time that it hurt to lose someone. And when Damian says this, we then kind of get this moment from Nightwing to where he apologizes to Damian for not being there for him when it happened, but he then goes on to let Damian know, like, aside from Dick's situation with the whole memory loss, he had also been in this same place to where he had to step away from Bruce, from Alfred, from the Titans, and figure out who he was apart from all of that. And it kind of gives us this moment to where Damian's like, well, why are you saying this? And it's here where Dick lets him know Tim, Steph, Jason, like all of them were Robins to Bruce first. But for Dick, him and Damian have a very different relationship because at one point he was his Robin. And it's here where Dick lets him know that he totally understands Damian's need to go on this journey, figure out who he is, and discover for himself like what's in the next chapter. But also with this happening and Nightwing effectively putting his hand on Damian's shoulder, and because of that Damian's like, well, yeah, you caught me. But then Nightwing's like, Damian, no, stop, don't run, no, come back. And he gives Damian a wink, yet again just telling Damian without telling him, go, do what you gotta do, I trust you to figure this out. And with this happening, I feel like it's something that Damian really needed. In addition to the training with his grandfather, in order for Damian to move forward and figure out how to balance this conflict within himself. But after this, then jumping over to Lazarus Island, and it's here at this point to where Ravager, she's just been resurrected, and needless to say, she's not happy, like she's looking for respawn. But then also, like we've seen before, Ravager dying was something that needed to happen in order for the tournament to get started. But at this point, with it being nearly dawn and the tournament starting to ramp up, and very quickly Ravager gets sidetracked when she sees Respawn, because once again, she's like, yeah, cool, the tournament's starting, but she's not here for that. But in the case of Respawn killing her when she had her back turned, that's where her focus is at, because she's ready to return the favor. But for Ravager, her moment of payback is cut short pretty quick when Connor Hawke shows up, because when he gets there, the magic arena is fully formed, and even though the sun hasn't completely risen, it's still ever so slightly dawn, plus with everyone's first death being out the way, it's officially go time. But as everyone's also making their way into the arena, we get this moment where Connor's expressing a bit of regret for taking out Damian, because with how it was done, it was nighttime and absolutely against the rules. But it's here where Master Dusk assures Connor that he owes the League of Shadows and that Connor needs to keep his head straight and repay them because they stepped in for Connor when no one else would. And at this time, with everybody heading into the arena, you also have Ravager who, like, she knows that the League of Shadows did something. And even though she doesn't know exactly what that something was, she knows that they're the reason why Damian is missing. But then it's here where she hears the latter part of the conversation between Master Dusk and Connor Hawke, to where she's then like, I knew it. But when she asks Master Dusk what he did to Damian, and Master Dusk is just like, only what had to be done. Because not only did he want Connor to go after Damian just to secure their win, but he also feels like Damian's too much of this entitled brat and that he doesn't deserve the prize of winning this tournament. And when Ravager hears this confession more or less, and she's just like, you know what, there ain't nothing in the rule book about killing coaches. But fortunately for Master Dusk, Damian pops up, and when this happens, of course, everybody is shocked. And with him coming back, he tells them that he had been training because he was missing something, but he has it now. And right away, like, he doesn't waste any time. Like, he tells both Flatline and Connor, like, when the time comes, both of y'all gonna get the business. But as the tournament gets started and Mother Soul begins to give the speech, it's here where Damian notices that she has the same book that he had seen in Corto Maltese, and he tells Ravager that he had saw her priest make an exchange with the League of Assassins, giving them chemicals from the Lazarus Pits for the book. But we have yet to find out what exactly this book is. But as Mother Soul goes on to give the introduction for this tournament, she goes on to tell everyone about the demon and how their souls have been given up for a sacrifice. And when she says this, you kind of have this moment where Flatline's like, hold up, demon? Like, I know she ain't just gonna brush over that part, but she definitely does. But it's from here forward where the tournament begins, and moving forward we're gonna find out more details about the book, about Damian and what he's learned, and eventually the surprise to the true identity of who Mother Soul actually is. And eventually Respawn too, because he's just out here being super cryptic. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support, and for anyone who's new here who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below so we can go to patreon.com/Dopespill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.